Hello, everyone. Welcome to Level Up Personal Finance, the channel where we talk about successes and failures in our personal finance world. And hopefully we learn from all of them to make tomorrow better than it is today. Before I get into the actual numbers, I'm going to do a quick, what are we going to talk about today? Really three quick things. One, I want to go over a quick, simple strategy that can set you to millionaire status. Now, it's simple, but most people don't do it. But it's a formula that I believe if you follow, you will hit millionaire status in your hopefully near future, but most likely it's not going to be tomorrow. I'll go over the monthly numbers like I always do. And then finally, I want to talk about a debt situation that I found myself in that hopefully I can hear your thoughts on it. And it's something that we all face from time to time, unfortunately. And it's something that's not great, but I want to kind of go over it with you because I like to be open with all of you. So anyway, let's jump right into it. As you can see on here, I actually got a smiley face on here. My net worth is back up to 1.3 million. It is up for the month. And if you're not a regular viewer of my channel, I'll kind of do a quick history lesson. So about 2 months ago, I had what was without a doubt the worst personal finance or net worth drop I'd ever had. In 1 month, it was $116,000 loss. Now, that was all due to investment pricing went down, but no matter how you look at it, losing 6 figures in 1 month on your net worth is not fun. It was a punch to the stomach on there. We rebounded a little bit for the next month. I lost about 15,000 in June. Now, that was an incredible rebound from the previous month, but still 15,000 down. It's not a good month to have. So June itself wasn't a good month, but at least it was a lot better than May was. But so what happened over the past month that kind of allowed me to put a smiley face on here? And that was in July, my net worth grew by $44,000. So that was a big positive. Once again, it's all due to investments. It's not like this is I'm earning more in sales bonuses or anything like that. But overall, it was a pretty good month on here. So very happy with how July turned out. And hopefully August is even better. But if you'll indulge me for a little bit, just kind of understand background of who I am in case you're new to my channel. I'm in my 50s. I don't have kids. I have a regular job like a lot of you do, get a paycheck every 2 weeks. You know, overall, my personal finance is relatively boring. It's kind of a simple formula of, where you earn some, you spend less, and you invest, and you let time take care of the rest of it. And that's really kind of what my strategy is, how to kind of move forward with this. Been tracking my net worth now for about 14, 15 years. I think it's critical to understand where you are if you want to know where you're going. You don't necessarily have to do it monthly like I do, but you definitely need to track your net worth. Whether it's a few times a year, you need to understand where you are. I have a FIRE background, financial independence, retire early if you're new to this. Now, I've been doing this before I even knew what this term was. I'm definitely more about financial independence than retiring early. That's not a goal of mine just to sit around or to travel. If it happens, great. I'm more about financial independence. So while I'm not going to go into it in depth here, I have another video that I'm planning. I wanted to, about a decade ago, I had a job that was probably going to be the highest compensation I've ever made in my career, especially at that point in time. But I hated it. Every morning I dreaded getting up. I'd stare at the ceiling and couldn't believe the day was starting again. And it was a miserable existence. It just felt like life was passing me by and I was unhappy. My bank account was growing like it never had before, but I just wasn't enjoying life. And really, because I got myself into a financial independent sort of state, it allowed me to make decisions about leaving that job and accepting less income. But I wouldn't have done that, or I couldn't have done that if I wasn't, in a sense, a FIRE follower. Even though at that point, never even heard of the term. I don't even know if it existed a decade ago, but it allowed me a lot more freedom in life. And that made life a lot better. So that's what I would recommend on here. And finally, other part of my background, I passed the 1 million net worth last December, so I'm kind of a newbie in the millionaire status, and I don't take it for granted. I know it could completely go away, but it's something that's kind of been a fun journey so far. Last year has been pretty good and had a smile on my face because of how the numbers have improved. And I hope, if you're not there, I hope it's something that's going to be in your future as well. So as I promised, real quick strategy on here and how I think people can become millionaire status or at least improve their net worth. First off, you got to think about it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. For most people, you're not going to become a millionaire overnight. And I know if you're 25 years old and you're starting out in your career, you may not like hearing that, but for most people, it's a reality. Most of us are not going to go out there and earn $500,000, $1 million a year, 1.5 million. Some of you will, and I think that's great, but most of us don't. So in order to get to millionaire status of net worth, it does take some time. I know I've read out there that the average millionaire, someone that's in millionaire status, for them to get to that was over 25 years. And I think that's realistic for a lot of people. So if you're someone that has an average paycheck, you can get to be millionaire status. You just have to realize it's going to take a long time, but think about that. And don't get too caught up in that it's not happening overnight. Something for emotional states. We all make mistakes. Unfortunate events happen to us outside of our control that make our net worth go down. You got to think about that's in the past. You can't change that. And some of the stuff is always outside of your control. So don't dwell on it. If you made a mistake, forgive yourself, move on, and just learn from it and do better next time. So don't worry about if you have high credit card debt. Odds are you can't sell that stuff or get all that money back. So let it go and just think, how are you going to make life better? Keep your eye on the future. That's where you're going. Don't worry about it. You'll still make some stumbles along the way, and that's okay. Just keep learning from it and be honest with yourself. I mean, if you make a mistake, admit it to yourself. You shouldn't have done that. And what are you going to do to make sure you don't do that again, or at least improve on your life in the future? And finally, this is more of a philosophy of, I think, life, but be a student of life. If you think that you know everything, you don't. Promise me, and I've felt that way along the years. Every time I always look back and go, wow, I didn't know what I was talking about a decade ago, but it's funny, I constantly feel that way. So you got to finally realize that. Always keep learning, and if you'll improve on things and understand how you can do better tomorrow than today, I think you'll find yourself a lot happier in life, but definitely in your personal finance. And this is really key to personal finance as well. I don't think that I've stopped learning, and I hope I haven't. Okay, as I promised, let's jump right into the numbers because it's what a lot of you want to see on here. So cryptocurrency, it rebounded this past month. I haven't really talked about that, but people who watch my channel know I have about 20% of my net worth in cryptocurrency. That's really why I've seen some of the volatility lately. It's definitely rebounded recently over the past week or two, so that's why I'm seeing some good positive numbers. Stock market was pretty blah. My retirement funds went up a little bit, but pretty much just went up by what I invested in it this month or what I contributed, so really kind of a blah market. I had larger than normal personal expenses, so I had to make an insurance payment, an annual insurance payment. I bought some furniture for the first time in a while, so my house hopefully is starting to look a little bit better. And also I spent some money on some hobbies that I have, and that's okay. I think it's okay to buy things. So it's not about being a miser in life. You need to enjoy today a little bit, just make sure it's under control and you're not kind of doing too many, I guess I would say, unplanned expenses. You can do a little bit. Life's fun. You can be a little bit spontaneous, but let's keep it a little bit under control. And unfortunately, I think we all know, COVID's just not letting go of us. I know for some of us, it's impacting, for some of you out there, your income, and that's horrible. And I, hope and pray every day that it's going to turn around for a lot of you out there. But for the rest of us, though, it's also changing how we spend on the world. So spend going out to eat, buying things. So hopefully our life's going to get back more to normal. I mean, it's starting to go crazy. It's over a year and a half into it now. So hopefully I know it's going to go. Anyway, enough on that. Let's look at the numbers. Checking and savings up 5% for the month. Was able to, even though I'd spent some money, I was able to maintain a higher balance than normal. And if you're new here, I keep a pretty high emergency funds. I keep about 9 months of emergency expenses on here. And also I do a lot of sinking funds. So when I have some large expenses coming up, so whether it's insurance payments or my annual property tax bill, I save up for that and I just keep it in cash. So it's pretty high balance from a lot of people, but it did grow 5% this month. Retirement funds, as I said, they stayed pretty much even. I think it's up a couple thousand, but it just kind of stayed where it is. This is mainly 401k, IRA for the US people, but it's just how we save money for retirement. As I mentioned, my cryptocurrency balance, it went up about 40,000 this month, I believe. It's about 290 I have in there. It's about 16%. Most of this, it's up about, I probably bought in about 80,000 of this is what I put into it over about a period of like 3 to 4 years. So it's like about triple of what I put into it or so. And this month was pretty good on here. What else? House and cars, I kept this the same. I don't change these balances every month, 460,000. Obviously, most of this is in my house. I don't think, cars are usually decrease in value. So overall, my total assets, almost up to 1.5 million. It grew about 3% this month. Hopefully it'd be nice if it was 1.5, kind of cross that threshold over the next month, but pretty good month overall. My assets grew. Credit cards. Now let's go over to liability. So credit cards about double what I normally have. I normally have about $1,000 balance at this time of the month. Now I do pay off my credit cards every month, and if you do not pay off your credit cards every month, or you're not able to, I tell you what, I've been there. Please move forward as fast as you can to get credit cards paid off. Mortgage, this keeps, standard just goes down by the same amount almost every single month. So it's just kind of one of those steady Eddie things. Keeps decreasing, which is a good deal. Total liability is a little over 160. And some of y'all have already done the math ahead of me. This is how I get to be the net worth of 1.3 million for July. This grew 3.5% from June. And more importantly, over the last 12 months, it's definitely a crazy increase of about 30% gain over the last year. So it's still been a pretty good year for me on my net worth statement. Now, as promised, I wanted to talk a little bit about a debt situation that I found myself in, and it's something I'm sure a lot of you experience in one form or fashion. So a few months ago, I borrowed some funds for my retirement for a long-term financial opportunity that hopefully is going to pay off in the long run on here. So while I don't reflect this on my net worth statement because it kind of gets into accounting, it actually would be a liability and asset for me. I just don't put it on there because it is money that I owe to myself. Now, but it does impact though my cash flow. So there's a deduction from every single paycheck I have, and I structured it so it's going to be there for the next 3 years. And I tell you what, after a couple months of paying this, after like about 6 or 7 paychecks, I'm just sick of it. I mean, I really am. I'm looking at this thing and I'm like going, am I going to have to face this thing for the next now like 2.5 years or over 2.5 years? So what I've done is I've started doing like a Dave Ramsey snowball plan. If you don't know who it is, Dave Ramsey, huge in the personal finance world. And he has this process. He calls it the snowball plan, usually for paying off debt. And this is where you just start applying as much as you can to it, to a debt, and just keep on adding more and more and more until you get it paid off on here. As you can see, I kind of first started saying when I wrote this out, I was attempting to pay it off. No, I'm not, there's no attempting. I'm going to do this. Now, I'm not going to do the Dave Ramsey where he talks about living like a miser and, he talks about eating nothing but beans and rice until you get this done. I'm not going to quite go to that level, but I am going to sacrifice until I can get this paid off. Now, I could pay it off tomorrow if that was the main goal. I could get rid of that financial opportunity. I could cash in some money. I could pay it off, but I don't want to touch the asset side of things. So I'm just going to really tackle this over the next, hopefully 9 months and get this paid off. So it's really now I'm looking at for like the payoff is next spring. So I'm not going to take 3 years, and my goal is to pay it off in 1 year. But frankly, that sucks. It really getting this into kind of this debt again is kind of something that I'm second guessing what I did. Now, like I said, I could pay it off right now if I really needed to, and that's a good thing to be in. I'm luckier than others, but it kind of just reminded me about, having debt is not fun. And so it's something that I can't say it was wrong to do because I'm still hopeful of the financial opportunity that I took, but it sucks being in debt, even to myself. So it's something that, I think I've said that now 3 times, is that I'm looking to get rid of very soon. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's something I don't want to have on my mind. Finally, I put the roller coaster picture here because that's how personal finance is sometimes. There's ups and downs, and we sometimes just have to live through them and do that. But this is really kind of what my personal motto is when it comes to personal finance. Make this month your best financial month ever, and that's something every month should do. That doesn't necessarily mean the numbers have to always be the largest because there's so much outside of our control. But think about for yourself, are you still always putting yourself in the best position for what you can control to be the best month ever? Whether it's finding ways to improve your income, improving your education, improving your work or career network out there, or lowering your expenses or controlling your expenses. And that's however it is for your definition of best financial month. Go out there and make that happen because that's really is what we need to do. Well, anyway, guys, if you're still here, thank you very much. I always appreciate the support and great comments that y'all have. If you want to, let me know what you think about this status. I did a slightly different update than I normally do. And as always, have a great August, guys. I'll talk to you soon.